The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, trusted by over 500 NFL players for their winning smiles. And broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your host, Nicole Hutchison.
Cowboys Nation, welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign. Here in the SWBC studio, I'm Nicole Hutchison alongside Aisha Morrison, Jess Navarez, and Brianna Aldridge. What's up, ladies? How y'all doing?
Wonderful.
Oh.
I know. I was like,
huh?
Sorry, I was adjusting my
again.
chair. I was adjusting my chair. Didn't know which way to look.
It didn't. Sorry.
We're awake. We're awake.
Are you sure?
We're here. Baby, I'm awake.
Are you positive?
I've had a lot of coffee today. I'm awake.
I've got something for that.
We know. Save it. Save it. Save it.
Thank you, Jazz. Let's go. You didn't hear that, did you?
I did.
No,
I heard a little.
I think we got to play it one more time.
Don't do it.
Wake up! There we go. Great. It's great.
Actually, I'm not awake. I think we need it live from the queen herself. Yeah.
Y'all know what time it is?
What time is it?
Wake up!
There it is. I knew it would bother Aisha. That's why I told you to do it.
My poor tinnitus.
Not the tinnitus.
To every veteran out there.
Girl. That's wild.
All right, ladies, a lot going on here in the coaching world, or really in the NFL right now. But let's talk about the coaching for sure. I want to go to Jess real quick. Just give us a little quick update on who's been hired, who's not been hired, and the updates on Cowboys.
Okay, so we're going to do this every week, and I made a very comprehensive list on my notes app. So Chicago Bears hired the very sought-after Ben Johnson. Great hire by them. New England Patriots have hired Mike Vrabel. Cowboys, TBD. Jacksonville Jaguars, TBD. Las Vegas Raiders, TBD. New Orleans Saints, TBD. New York Jets, TBD. And yeah, that's where we are, guys. That's where we are in the head coaching cycle. A lot of TBDs, but more TBD, I feel like, here in Dallas than other places.
Absolutely. That big TBD is on the head coaching position that the Cowboys have not filled just yet. But some news, the latest, Brian Schottenheimer, the current offensive coordinator, is expected to get an interview. Thoughts? What do y'all think about Brian Schottenheimer possibly serving as the Cowboys head coach in the future?
I'm gonna let you I'm gonna let y'all.
I've been dying to hear from you.
I was surprised, I will say, when I started to see the reports as the not only getting interviewed but emerging as the top candidate in the talk. But to be clear, I feel like every week, like last week was Kellen Moore, top candidate. Until we see them all, it's kind of hard to it's just the top to us that week, in my opinion, because I can't sit here and say the top candidate until we see all of the candidates. And like we said last week, Cowboys are a little bit behind in the ball. But personally, when I look at the Cowboys and I look at what was available and the fact that we didn't try to go for some of the top coaches on the market that every other league is fighting for, like we'll get into it later, but Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, everybody knows those were the top two candidates. And to see the Cowboys not even try to go either way or call them, it's just crazy in my opinion, because now we have a candidate, no disrespect, but who is going after John Meyer?
Yeah, no, that's a valid statement.
That's
a valid
the
statement.
only thing.
Yeah,
But that's intentional too, because they don't like to compete.
And it's cheap.
I'm not gonna go there.
yeah, we're gonna hold that real fast. Jess, go ahead.
It's funny because you said you were surprised. I was not. I was looking at my clock.
Still new.
I was looking at my clock. I said, when's the time coming? It's only a matter of time. And how this works, too, is I knew when the name got brought up of who's familiar in the building, who knows the guys, he would be the first one that was mentioned. So I knew it was a matter of time. Now, I do agree what you're saying as far as him being the top contender of the week, because it's the news cycle. It's new, it's fresh, it keeps you in the headlines, and it keeps the shock value. Very much would they do that? Are they going to? It just keeps the Cowboys in the conversation, and that's how it goes. So for me, I'm not surprised. I definitely think that, no disrespect, of course, I just think there's better options if you're wanting to build a winning team right off the bat. And I just, again, I go back to this should have been done a couple weeks ago. Putting that list together on my notes app, I was like, wow, the Cowboys have significantly fewer interviews than most of these other teams all of the other teams, I'm going to say, that are in the same position as them without a head coach.
Yeah.
Rip the Band-Aid.
You're finna stress me out. You're finna stress me out.
No, I don't have nothing stressful to say. I'm not surprised.
This is all stressful. What do you mean, girl?
This is perfectly fine.
No, I mean, back to my original point with Renee talking about the fact that Ben Johnson is, first of all, the Ben Johnson situation doesn't just affect the Cowboys and the fact that they didn't pursue him. That also affects Mike McCarthy, who I thought was in the driver's seat for that job, and then Ben Johnson was like,
I got this.
just gonna ease on Aya, brother.
Not the brother.
And so it also puts Mike McCarthy in a weird spot as well, where he told the Cowboys, I'm out of here. Sounds like he'd been talking to the Bears, and the Bears was looking at the other girl. Lord have mercy.
Unfaithful.
It's hard out here.
Gross.
It's the day.
Giving man.
Anyway,
Giving man.
anyway, back to task. Though for me, it doesn't surprise me. In a sense of we already know the Cowboys like to stay in house. They want. They're trying to keep, and I'm torn because I do to some degree, and we talked about it, ladies. Here is that there is a level of continuity that is going to just be completely gone with changing a roster, flipping a roster essentially, what you're gonna have to do, changing a staff, completely gutting it. So it's like, okay, they're trying to keep him here because they maybe want to have Dak to be familiar with this guy. Dak has 3 years left on his contract, all that, whatever. But right now, where you're at, you need to do something inspiring. I'm sorry. You need to do something that's going to shoot energy back into this team right now. And I get that a lot of people feel, I know Dak likes Shotty. He spoke about how Shotty is, and I know you were out there at training camp. He's the energy. Yeah. From my understanding, he's the guy that gets guys ready, and he wants them ready for battle and all this stuff. But it's like, for me, I just think what the state of where your team is right now, an overhaul is probably best right now. Comfort. They've operated in comfort for years, and it's not getting you nowhere. And this feels like a comfortable situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even to go into scheme and all that stuff. We'll talk about that later. I don't want.
What? Because my question is.
Don't laugh.
I'm sorry. Why would the Cowboys consider Brian Schottenheimer, or consider him promoting him to this role? Because you look at other guys on this coaching staff, like an Al Harris, who has not gotten that opportunity to be even thought about when it comes to defensive coordinator. He's done so many good things with his defense. So it's almost kind of like, okay, why now for Brian Schottenheimer? He's been here, 2 years? Got here 2023?
Yeah.
It's interesting, too, because we listen to Brian Schottenheimer in these pressers and stuff like that. And I'm looking at the film, and I'm sitting up here like, well, what he talking about? So what he talking about they should be doing, they not doing. So were there philosophy differences between he and McCarthy, and maybe the Cowboys feel like his philosophy is more forward thinking, maybe? But it's just still like the feel of just keeping these gentlemen here despite everything that's going on. It's weird.
I just feel like I would be more comfortable with this being the front runner of the conversation if he was calling the plays last year and you actually knew what you were getting into, because to your point, you don't know the philosophy. You don't know what his coaching style is other than an OC who wasn't calling plays. Like, that doesn't give you a fair, I think, assessment of the kind of head coach that he could be. And I know he's very, very highly regarded, comes from a coaching family, and, you know, it kind of is in the blood, and he's talked about that. I mean, on his arm, he has faith family, or is it family football faith? Something like that on his arm. So I don't doubt that at some point he can be a head coach. I would rather have somebody with a track record that can come in here, win, and to your point, yes, pretty much build something from the ground up, has done it before, and not put him in a situation to possibly be set up for failure if he doesn't exactly know how to align pieces for a winning team next year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was in Seattle, and they had some success there, but he's just, I don't know.
It's just unknown still.
In a way, he would be fresh, too.
You know, I just don't see, like, I know Mike McCarthy was calling the plays, but I just don't see somebody. I don't see him as a person who wouldn't be open to some input from a guy who's in the same room and seeing everything you see. So in my opinion, he doesn't have the answer to what this team needs because he's been in this building. He has those relationships. He's hyping up the players. And then what?
Yeah.
We didn't get the result. Yeah. And to me, I'm not overthinking it. I think it's very simple. I think he's affordable, and I think he's eager to have that opportunity. And I think it's someone that, okay, you're hired, but how do you feel if I bring this person in, this person in, and this person in? What are you going to say? What leverage do you have at that point if you really want that head coaching job? Yeah, okay. Yeah. And I think somebody, maybe Al Harris, might have a little more a voice in that aspect. Again, no disrespect to Shadi at all, but I'm just saying personally, when you get any field, when you don't have that leverage for a job you want, you gotta, give a little more. And I see this as a candidate who will. And there's speculation that, Jerry has interest in a Mr. Witten as well. So I mean that's on the table, right? Like I think a lot of Cowboys Nation fans probably 50-50 because there's someone has to have a reputation coming in here, which is shoddy, the relationship, like you said. But now, okay, if that falls through, then they still get.
Yeah. Did Ben Johnson and those guys want to interview here?
And that's another thing.
Because that's is a whole
because
other
that
conversation.
To me, when you say what you say about him, when you said Shadi is eager, or probably eager for the opportunity, it triggered in me like, okay, well, were our gentlemen not eager to come here? Which is something that we talked about a few weeks what Troy Aikman just said. Troy Aikman just said. And obviously, Troy sees these players, these coaches, these people all the time. Like he's connected. So it's like if he's saying like this is the sentiment about coaching this team, is there some validity to it? Is that why we're in this weird limbo right now? Or is it difficult to draw people into wanting to interview this team? That's something that I think we're going to see over the course of this because if these other coaches just keep going to these other teams.
It's gonna say a lot.
You can't. That means you can't compete, and it's gonna say a lot about what the state of this team is. Baby, we about to be one of the people that hire you and you start working the next day.
I mean,
I'm sick of you.
That's crazy. Sick. But you also know, like, familiarity is just a concept that runs deep in this organization, no matter what aspect of it. Yeah. I mean, i.e., look at the Ezekiel Elliott situation, bringing him back, like. It's something that's comfortable here. Not, we don't necessarily agree with it all the time, but I think when you're talking in terms of a head coach that essentially needs to come in and be an impact maker on the spot the same day they're hired, like with the draft right around the corner, man, I don't want to risk somebody who hasn't had the experience as a head coach already.
Well, there's a lot of unknown of whether or not Brian Schottenheimer will be the answer. There's a lot of unknown of who will be the next head coach here in Dallas, but there's one thing that is known. Former special teams coordinator John Fassel is no longer here. He is going to Tennessee. Oh, man. And you look at how he spearheaded the whole special teams, a new kickoff rule, and really changed the culture in that unit. You look at just in 2024, they were second in scoring. Second in field goals made, led the league in kickoffs returned for a touchdown, led the league in average returned yards. Shout out to Cavante Turpin, shout out to Brandon Aubrey, all those guys. Yep. John Fassel, how do you replace, if you can, replace a coach like that?
You can't, I'm sorry. You can with somebody who's on his statute, and that's also hard to find. Because here's one thing I know about Bones is I've talked to, obviously, current players, but also past players. I'm talking years ago players who still talk about the impact that man had on their life past football. So for me, Bones is the kind of coach that not only makes you want to continue to play well and do your best on the field, he makes sure you're taken care of well after your football career. And that's really, really hard, I think, to find just that empathetic heart that Bones has. And I know a lot of the flack I was getting on Twitter about this was the bad calls and this and that. And, he extended his welcome. And I don't want to hear it. Like, really don't cover I will take the good with the bad. No, really. I'll take the good with the bad when he has scouted out guys like Brandon Aubrey, Nobody in this league heard of Brandon Aubrey until Bones Fassel was watching him in Birmingham, and then look what happened. Cavante Turpin, another example that Bones personally looked to scout out here. And of course, he credits the scouting department and all of that. That's Bones' mind, is those two players alone can tell you everything and how valuable he is as a coach of finding players that were impactful from the first day that they came here, even when they had no name credited to them in the NFL yet. So for me, it's really hard to replace a Bones Fassel. And I personally, for special teams alone, I don't think there's anybody out there you can bring in that can do that day one.
I agree. In fairness, like some of the rule changes that we've seen with special teams, some of the some of the formations, he has spearheaded, to Jess's point, a lot of the forward thinking with special teams, but also too, just from a football standpoint, special teams is a lot of players start. As Des Bryant, where he started,
Yeah.
like a lot of the time, it's almost like a rite to passage. It's like you have to go through special teams with a lot of these positions to earn the opportunity to be on a field. So almost like a special teams coordinator is one of the only coordinators that will have a connection with a defensive player, an offensive player, all of them, because he has all of those guys come together for special teams to operate. Such an important facet of the game. We see it win and lose playoff games every year. I do think out of all the gentlemen that you are losing in this whole situation, he might be the most impactful because he touches, like I said, he touches every player that touches that field. And I do think it is going to be difficult. And I think that it speaks to how quickly he got scooped up as well. Like, people know who Bones is. He's respected. I will say special teams stressed me out sometimes this year, but that's a part of the job. But for the most part, his to your point, Jess, his tenure in most teams has been successful, and he's a guy that you are gonna miss. So from a football standpoint, it does kind of suck.
Yeah, I think special teams definitely just overall in the league goes underrated.
Yes, ma'am.
Until
100%.
We've seen it see the season impact the game either way, and I just think it's going to be something you don't feel until next season because everyone's so focused on, like, okay, we need another offensive weapon, we need another depth at tackle, we need this, we need that, and then the special teams is definitely, so I'm interested to see what plan B is there. But I also, what flagged my mind to see where he's going, and in my mind that is a lateral move. So I just wonder how those conversations went, if that was his choice. Like you said, is this job, appealing? Was it even a conversation if he could return, if certain things?
Yeah.
And I think that leadership-wise, it's a big deal. You look at that group. A lot of teams nowadays, you have to be able, if you can play special teams, you can make a roster.
Absolutely.
So I think just how that plays out going forward, because it's just, there's not one position on this team that I'm not concerned about at this point, and that's what's scary.
That's insane.
Do y'all feel
No,
like
literally.
this special teams unit will be the same, though?
No.
If not?
No. You also have a coach that spearheaded the rule change as your special teams coordinator, which you can see that as an advantage or a disadvantage, because he tried to outdo it, a couple times. And yes, some of those calls you were like, what is going on? But to his point, he always said, if it works, it works. And you're asking me opposite questions in the press conference. You know what I mean? So for me, especially because the rule change is still so new, coming out of its first year, you kind of know the kinks and like the pros and the cons of it going into this next year. You still would like to have that advantage of somebody who spearheaded that change and that movement. So for me, I don't know, man. It's just, it sucks. I saw that, and that one hit me. I was like, dang, because he's also just a great coach with media. He's very media friendly and an open book as far as talking. Like, sometimes PR is pretty much like, okay, Bones, like, your presser's over, let's go. Like, he definitely is one of those coaches that is willing to share with you, help you learn, help you grow. And so, wishing him and his family the best, because those little girls that he has are the cutest, they're the best. They actually sat in here with us a while back and watched an episode. So hope the Bones family is doing well. My Shayla's.
I'm
so
crying.
sad.
Certainly wishing John Fassel the best of luck in Tennessee. God dang it. It's It's gonna be sick. All right.
Him and Tony reunited again.
We're going to take our first break. Up next, we're going to break down the pros and cons of this offensive staff that we have right now. It may not be. Jesus. As of right now. It could possibly. Yeah. But as of right now. All right, we'll be right back. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Up next, waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbers, pot pie, and potatoes next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Do it for confidence on and off the field. Do it for you. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Don't wait. Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, okay. Amanda Foster has been named your 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan for her dedication to the team and spicing up the game. Vote for Amanda to be named the Ultimate NFL Fan of the Year at NFL.com/fan of the year. Go vote for Amanda. Also, I'm sorry, 30 is not old. Please.
I'm sorry.
Please.
I had to let that out.
No, please.
It's not.
I don't want to hear it.
I just got a few more years, and I'm gonna cheers.
Yeah, don't do that.
30's not old.
Honestly,
I'm not even 30 yet. Why are we talking about
I'm 30.
straight
and
up.
thriving,
September.
So, in some.
Oh, you got some time.
It comes so fast anyway. Like you look
very
up and
much
it's
so.
like, hey.
Well, luckily, after
Not
this
40.
year, my birthday doesn't exist
Why?
because I'm 29 forever.
All right.
All right. That's
Well, I'm gonna be 27 forever. How about that?
that's
Oh,
the type of
you
denial I'm trying to
27 's a
have
good age.
going into next season.
I'm Delulu about most things, and yeah, next season's another one.
Ain't
of those
nothing
on
wrong
the
with
list.
Asian.
Well, I think we're a little Delulu too right now.
Gotta be
Because
Delulu.
this is the new coaching staff that I have.
Oh yeah, you
right.
assigned it. Yeah,
I
go
assigned
ahead.
it.
Go ahead.
All right. This is just who I think out of who all is
roll it out.
available right now.
Right, here we go.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna start over here
Yeah.
I told you what I picked.
because
Yeah, we know.
your job's secure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're set.
I'm out the way.
Will McClay's out the way.
You're good. You're over there.
Settled over there.
Yeah.
We got you as offensive line coach.
Thank you. That's all I want.
That's
I can see that.
dream come true.
Dream come true.
You could
Get
do it.
your hands inside.
Yelling.
my God.
I can see
that.
that.
I can see that.
I'm not playing.
No, I know. Tough them up.
I'm gonna go with.
Don't give me something lame.
I'm gonna
Come
go
on.
with special teams coordinator.
Thank you. All
I'm gonna
right.
go special teams.
I could do
coordinator.
that. I could
Or
do it.
maybe even nah.
What was the other one?
Lunda's staying. We're gonna solidify his job.
Oh, tight ends coach.
Or maybe tight ends coach. I don't know. Which one would you prefer?
both.
open.
I'll be a
open.
hybrid coach.
All right.
I'm hybrid special teams and tight ends coach, babes.
Who are you?
I'm going DC.
Okay.
Yeah. We knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our DC over here, Nicole.
We'll have
No,
him
I'm just
right.
playing. All right, for real. All right, pros and cons of the offense. We'll start there with just going through the coaches list and whether or not you feel there's a pro or a con of why they should stay, why they should Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back. All right, Jeff Blasco.
We were
start
getting it.
with him, the running backs coach. Run game coordinator, running backs coach.
The nicest thing I can say is that we have felt the effects of Skip Pete not being on this roster. The run game has suffered that since.
Okay. Do you think that's solely on the running backs, or is that just the decline in the offensive line play?
Well, it's a change. It's the changes with the offensive line coach. It's the lack of urgency to go get running backs to help your offensive line look better than what it does, like we do and see in the other parts of the league.
Okay.
And I also do think it's philosophy change and things like that. So yeah, Skip Pete. I remember. I don't know if you. You weren't here, but when Skip Pete left, it people. It hurt people.
Yeah, it hit different.
He's just one of those guys that obviously understands the position, but really speaks life into his players and also does things that are to their benefit.
Yeah.
So I just,
to me,
yeah,
you can't even figure that out because who's your running back?
No idea.
Who is it? Like, I don't know what kind of coach you need because who's in that room? Genuinely, I don't know. Your starting running back last season is hitting free agency. Like, are you getting a rookie? Are you getting a free agent? Are you re-signing? That's going to determine what I think about the coach that needs to handle the situation. So, TBD.
What about you?
Another TBD.
Yeah, another TBD.
I don't think it's fair, but this is a business, and like you guys pointed out, who did he have? That's a big part of it. Who did Mike McCarthy have? That's a big part of it. But if we're gonna clean house, especially offensively. There's one guy, and I'm pretty sure we can all agree when we get there, that deserves to stay, in my opinion. But if we're gonna clean house.
Yeah.
It's now, especially like hypothetically, if it's a Kellen Moore, especially if it's a Brian Schott. Pull your face together.
I'm sorry. I wasn't on camera. It doesn't count.
What is new? What is changing, right? Like, you gotta, something has to within. And I just think if you're going to clean house, especially offensively, it's time to clean house.
Yeah. Well, it also kind of goes back to, I believe Aisha had mentioned this, is that you don't really know if it was up to Mike McCarthy when it comes to the running back situation, or if it was a Jeff Blasco situation, or you don't really know. And so it's kind of hard to really assess if Jeff Blasco really had a tough reign or hold on that room and making those decisions in terms of who should be running back one, who should not, who should be playing. So yeah, a lot of TBD. But we're gonna go Robert Prince next, wide receivers coach. Have you seen any improvement with the wide receivers? Okay, y'all.
I'm not commenting a whole bunch.
Yep, me either. Next.
Oh my goodness.
I will say
pros. We'll start with pros first.
I can't. So I should go last on that one, and that is because I don't have one, and that's the problem. Because I believe Jalen Tolbert has a higher ceiling than what was seen.
I agree.
And that we saw splashes, right? Brandon Cooks goes out early in the season, and I didn't see nothing change. I saw Dak Prescott go out, and I just felt like, okay, understand who your quarterback is now. And I just didn't see any changes. It just looked like we were trying to force the same offense on a totally different quarterback with wide receivers that needed to step up. And I have a problem with him staying because I feel like, again, using Tolbert as probably, in my opinion, who I was looking forward to see the most kind of grow in this season, is if he goes to another team, I bet you they figure it out. And that's why I have a problem on what's...
I mean, just even based on Brandon Cooks, although Brandon Cooks has had some issues, some knee issues, some issues since he's been here, he's always been a guy that has played with even lesser, respectfully, no disrespect, but even lesser talented quarterbacks than the quarterbacks he's played with here, and you still couldn't figure out how to get him the ball and play to his strengths. So for me, I agree with you two ladies, is that what input does he have?
Yeah.
Like that's the part
goes
that's
across the
confusing
board
to
at
me
this point.
Because it's like if he's the wide receiver coach, he should know all of the things that his unit does well, what they don't do well. Honey, you telling me at no point in time that he wasn't allowed to go say, stop calling comebacks for this man. This is not, he doesn't have the catch radius for it. His route running isn't as sharp as it was before, talking about Brandon Cooks. This is a guy that can run past people, can sit in zones, can do things like that. Like, my thing about Robert Prince is, we've been talking about the wide receiver room for the last 2 years now. I haven't even what input has he had on the trajectory of this room? So that's my biggest thing. Is your point is like, well, what's going to change, and has he even been a part of any of the changes that have been made?
And piggybacking off of both of y'all, like your younger guys and their development, especially because he is a second-year coach.
Yes,
second year,
third. Carry the
second or third.
Keep going. We're gonna check that.
Well, regardless, your younger players, your second, third year players, their development, to your point, Bree, should be way, way further ahead than what it is. And that's doing them a disservice as players. Third, 4.
2022. So what's that for? This is
what
now
year are we?
3. 5. So 3.
3, girl. Math is hard.
Math wasn't
it's
my
fine.
best.
Okay,
Don't me either. No, but to that point too, Jalen Brooks, Jalen Tolbert, like the development just was not there and where it should have been, especially considering you had your backup quarterback in that they get their practice reps with most of the time. So to me, the development of your young players tells me how much you're working with them, and I don't know exactly what you saw other than CeeDee Lamb literally holding the season with one arm. Like, it's...
And that's just based off
hard.
him as a natural athlete.
Exactly.
Right. But also, at what point do you give him some relief so he's not feeling like he has to play these games when playoff contention is off the table to just win with literally a banged up shoulder that wasn't surgery required at that point, but had it kept going, who knows how much that could have leaned into next season and rehabbing and all of that. Like, I'm not willing to risk CeeDee Lamb. That's why your other receivers should be ready for games like that and moments like that. Like, why weren't they?
I want to ask you guys, though, like, it is frustrating, but I want to ask you guys, with everything that you said, we know how the Cowboys handle the wide receiver room.
Yeah.
They have handled it in a very, like, CeeDee Lamb fell to them. They got lucky.
Yeah.
You know, they have handled it, besides bringing in Brandon Cooks, they brought in Trey Mingo. They brought in
Mingo.
I want to call him Trey Wingo so bad.
It's okay.
But yeah, they brought in Mingo. With the way that you handle our wide receiver room, like it is not a priority. Baby, the coach needs to be a guru then. If you're not going to go out and get more of a CeeDee Lamb that just has the natural ability to overcome, then you need a guru to teach these third round, fourth round guys that the Cowboys like to go after because they don't want to invest to become those type of players.
But you have guys on that roster, Brandon Cooks, who you didn't use. So it's like...
that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I just think if you're going to handle like that, then your coach has to be super sharp then.
But I think the blame goes equally across the table. Like, it's not just Robert Prince. It's also head coach and, OC. Like, I think everybody gets their fair share of blame. But you won't actually, again, this is so hard because, especially offensively, you don't know how much of it was play calling and you don't know how much of it was position coach decisions. Like, who has control? Right. Who has the say? You don't know. And so really it's like, I can't even fault any of these position coaches because I don't know how much say or control they had in the lack of, involvement in younger players or anybody other than CeeDee Lamb, really. I mean, it's hard to say. So I do think blame goes everywhere.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
I just thought about CD was gone for the entire camp. That was the time, in my opinion, it was kind of an opportunity. Like, we heard that for the players, but also for the coaches to see and play with things you normally couldn't when CD was there, because obviously he's going to be running with the ones and running and everything like that. And so I just remember like all the hype that was going on and the different Jalen's were shining through and Lanoy was doing I was just like, and then boop, died out real quick.
Silence.
Just burned out the candle. And again, it's not to put it on one person. A season like this there's from top to bottom.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things that need to go on, but no one's gonna hype me up about a wide receivers coach after something like that.
I'm not keeping the main thing. The main thing it sounds like we should be winning. It sounds like, listening to everything you ladies are saying, it sounds like there might have been philosophy differences. There might have been issues. Because, again, to your point, Jess, I'm glad that you mentioned, like, we really don't know who did what, when, and where.
Right.
But the goal should have been winning games. The goal should have been playing to the strengths of the guys that you have on your roster, whether you feel like they're lesser or not. With respect, we see teams work with lesser.
Yeah.
We see teams get it done. But if there's a collective, decision to win games, and this is how we're going to do it, then all of these extracurricular conversations and feelings and, this is my favorite player, so I want him to play, all of that, it would have went out the window for the greater good of the team. And I feel like we see that exemplified on the field with the decisions that are being made.
All right. Let's go with Lunda Wells.
I like him.
Okay.
I'm okay if he stays.
Pro and con, or which one you want to do first?
It's the pro is the con for me. I was really hyped up on Ferguson. Sat down with him during camp, and that is who's, to me, surprised me the most. I don't know if I know he was dealing with injury, and I seen the, when you make a great block as a tight end, that's not getting noted, right? I've seen him be able to do that, but I'm talking about the lack of productivity, especially when Cooks is out the game and you think it's going to be Ferguson that's going to be picking up all these, reps. I thought with the dynamic and how he leads that group all together, that was just going to flourish, and it was a little bit disappointing. But I think overall what he stands for, and the fact that, just like most of the other coaching positions, they praise him in that. And I think with a different coach, this will be different. But I also now am like, okay, why my pros and con? If it's Brian Schottenheimer, who was already in here, what is really going to change? And I think it's going to be, don't clean house. It's going to be a lot of what we saw this season.
Yeah, I'm going to say I would keep Lunda because out of all of the players that we get to talk to and we hear from, the most consistent room that constantly, almost every time you talk to them, talks about Lunda. I mean, credits him to how much work he's pouring into them as players, as individuals. And again, that speaks volumes to me. If these guys, I wasn't even asking about Lunda, and they will just credit him and throw his name out there, that's the kind of coach you need across the board for every position group here. You want every single player to sit there and credit them, not because you're asking them like, hey, how's Lunda been? No. They take initiative to do it because they're playing for their coach. So for me, anytime a guy can rally you up like that, you're doing your job. Now, how it's utilized and how the tight ends usage was underutilized again, I don't know how much of that was Lunda's say.
Yeah.
And so back to what we were saying about Robert Prince, I don't know, but I do think when guys play for their coach, you get a better result overall.
Yeah, if we're basing it off of development and that type of stuff, I think Lunda has been one of the most consistent with being able to develop some of these tight ends. We know as a whole that the tight end room was disappointing as a whole this year. And it does put him in a tough spot as a coach with the injuries and to lose John Stevens Jr. again to ACL. Brevin Spann-Ford came in, did some things for you, but it wasn't enough. And then you talk about Jake Ferguson. I'm glad you mentioned the injuries. He also, too, we didn't get to see him a lot in the receiving aspect because, baby, he was over there helping out your tackles.
Yeah.
There's just... And with the lack of depth behind him that is proven, that is performing, it also puts the coaching staff in a bind because it's like, I can't run 12. I can't run 13. There are certain formations you can't run because you don't trust your tight ends to do the job.
Yep.
And it is I'm serious, y'all, this room is it's pivotal what happens in this room because it limits you so much when you don't have tight ends that can get out there and do the things you need them to do, they're an extension of your offensive line, and now they're an extension of your passing game. They might be a focal point of your passing game. I think that Jake Ferguson did struggle when Dak went out. A lot of players, I think he suffered the most with Dak being out because the places where he can attack on the field, your backup quarterback was not comfortable throwing like that. Middle of the field is hard to attack. It is. And so I think we saw a lot of his numbers drop because of that. I want to be respectful to him because of what he went through health-wise this year. I think it really affected him more. But as far as going back to the conversation about Lunda, development, fine. He might get the short end of the stick because of what's going on here. Yeah. And it sucks, but it's the reality. And I do kind of want a different feel for that room because there's some toughness that's needed in that room. Yeah. And efficiency that's needed in that room. So, yeah. But I would keep him. He might be your offensive line coach.
All right, we're going to stick with efficiency and take our second break. We'll be right back with more Girls Talk, Boys Talk presented by Invisalign after the break.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Do it for confidence on and off the field. Do it for you. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Don't wait. Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes and next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
The biggest names in sorry, I didn't hear you the first time. The biggest names in tennis head to the Ford Center at Frisco this February. Win his top-ranked Casper Ruud and former Dallas Open champion, American Tony Paul, dazzle the court as the Dallas Open moves to a new home. Catch all the hard-hitting action and watch the top players on tour compete live. Tickets are available now at SeatGeek.com.
It's going to be so much fun.
I want to go to there.
Go watch it.
So much fun.
I just really want to go to there. I've never seen a tennis match in person, but tennis is one of my favorite individual sports. It's one of my favorites.
I used to go to the US Open with my mom every year until that stopped.
Is she gonna come over here for this?
Are we gonna go to there?
To the US Open?
To the one that's here.
Heck yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Well, you can go to SeatGeek.com to get tickets.
Come on, promo.
Yeah, y'all go to SeatGeek.com. And follow the dirt.
Tickets are available now
Go get
at SeatGeek.com.
There you go. Boom. There was the ding. All right, Jess. Not listening. All right. All right. Pros and cons real fast before we have to go. Well, we don't know Mike Zimmer if he's going to be retiring, if he's interested in still staying in coaching, but a pro and con of keeping Mike Zimmer aquí.
Wow.
It just came out.
I love the
I'm a little fluent.
versatile.
Okay, bilingual.
Pros. Pros. That's go to pro. I had more pros in this one.
I think now that he's learned from what he should have done last year, he would have a better season this year. Also, pro, you get all your guys back from injury, and you can actually set the system up that you had planned to and you wanted to, and you don't have to have a watered-down, cut-down version because of all the injuries. So I think that's a pro for any DC that steps into this position, is you have your guys and you have your main guys. So yeah, I think that's a pro for Mike, and the guys know him. It seems like the guys were growing very fond of him and spoke well of him in the locker room. And so, yeah, I also think a pro is you don't have another DC come in here. I mean, you're talking Deron Bland has had a new DC every single season of his career so far. Stability would be great. So any path to stability, I'm all for. That's a pro. That's where I'm at.
What you got, Bree?
Pro for Zimmer because it is experience. It is leadership. It is he proven he can do with lesser. He's figured it out with this team, which I'm very scared is going to struggle another season with having an offensive identity. So at least that is one less thing on defense in my mind from Zimmer, because it sounds like the coach is going to be a lesser experienced candidate, regardless of who comes in. At this point, they're not paying the big bucks for the big guns, and we know Ben Johnson is out, and that was the only person that kind of made sense in my mind. That was like the young, take a chance, creative, whatever have you. But like you said too, these players respect Zim. He's proven himself. Now, if he wants to come back, that is a whole different conversation. But I don't think it. I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change. When I say clean house, offense and defense, sounds painful.
No, it does.
It hurts. Yeah.
Unless you go, draft, free agency. Foundational pieces in place.
Don't get too crazy over there.
Whew,
Don't be greedy.
I definitely agree with you. Definitely agree with you, ladies. And some of the pros that you mentioned, I think one of the biggest pros to me is going to be the fact that I believe that Zimmer's system is very relevant to what this NFL looks like. You're dealing with mobile quarterbacks. You're dealing with a lot of younger quarterbacks as well right now. And his system, it really makes you have to read what he is doing. It's not just cut and dry, line up. Can they do that sometimes? It focuses on stopping the run. It doesn't emphasize turnovers, but turnovers will come to you if you're in position. It is a disciplined, very versatile scheme. So that's a pro to me because it's going to continue. Like what he likes to do is going to continue. Also, too, you ladies mentioned that it's another year of him having, these guys, like they had some trouble getting the scheme, but towards the end of the season, they got it, all those good things, blah, blah, blah. But one of the cons, I would say, to bringing Zimmer back, and it's probably one of the only cons, is the fact that this foolishness that is going on right now, we've heard this man speak about the fact that coming back to football was a decision that he made for sentimental reasons, but also, too, is that he has a love for the game. This is a circus. We don't even know. He don't even know right now who his head coach is if he is going to be here.
Yeah.
Who wants, again, to our original point at the beginning of this conversation, these men have families. These men have lives. They have other things in their career that they might want to pursue, and they are being held up right now to some extent, or they weren't held up to go pursue other opportunities. There's no certainty here. So it also, too, is like, are they going to bring Zimmer back on a one-year deal? Because it sounds like, listening to his pressers, that is not something he wants.
Yeah.
Right.
He wants somewhere where he can have some stability.
Right.
And I get that. So for me, the con to bringing him back would be the fact that he's coming back in here. Yeah, we talking about the scheme, the system, all this, but what if the new head coach is like, nuh-uh, bro, that's not what I want to do? Because they can. I don't know. That's probably my biggest con with bringing Zimmer back.
All right. Well, hopefully we have some new coaching news next Tuesday because that's when we will be back here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign. For Aisha Morris and Jess Tavares, Brianna Aldridge, I'm Nicole Hutchison. We'll see y'all back here next week. I'm tired.
That was a good question, Brianna. I just work here, man.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!